Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. Good evening, gentlemen. James Blanchfield, Tom Crotty, and Paddy Brown. How are you?
All well, Stephen.
All good, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, we're up and running anyway.
Great.
Yeah, the seasons are good. The World Cup we don't really want to talk about anymore. It's not really interesting. There's plenty happening on the local front anyway. We'll talk about all that. I'm sure we'll have a mention of New Zealand and South Africa and all the other businesses going on with the World Cup over the last while. Of course, Johnny Sexton and Keith Earls have stepped aside from professional rugby as well. And Peter O'Mahony's thinking about it. And anyway, there's lots of stuff, different things going on. Tom, we're going to start with you and Carlo. We're going to go back to last weekend. You had a good win over De La Salle. And there's no Leinster League matches on this weekend, but you do have friendly.
Yep. I suppose I'll start with the De La Salle match. With no seconds game, De La Salle hadn't got seconds, so that game was forfeited. Yeah, we got the win. That's the number one priority first, and that was our goal: is to get the home win. We had a shaky enough start. Didn't play particularly well in the first half. Lineouts weren't great. De La Salle turned us over a few times in the lineouts. Just what happened one of them days, and just lifters and jumpers not just getting their timings right. Small little details like that. We played we had an awful lot of ball. Like we probably could have scored more. Could have scored more in the first half, but weren't as accurate as we'd like to be. De La Salle were actually stronger. We're never going to take them for granted. I know you can't judge by the results. They had two losses with losing bonus points. They were coming down with, if they lost, they were going to lose 4 in the trot, which would be a massive thing for them. You know, any team to have 4 losses in a row wouldn't be good. So we knew that they were going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at us, and their number 8 causes a fair bit of problems. See, he's an Islander. His name is gone out of my head at the moment.
Paulie Tolafula.
Paulie, that's it. Paulie causes.
Yeah, he was Leinster Junior.
He's a big. Like he's trimmed up an awful lot on what he was last season. I saw him playing for the Leinster Juniors last year. Probably got 20 minutes out of him at the Leinster Juniors and caused havoc just because of it. As he comes into contact, dips and hits really, really hard. The same as each tackle is a lined up tackle. So there's a couple of lads that were fairly sore after the game from. But no, we got a couple of really nice. Got a nice try. Second half, we got a maul try, which was superb. Got the lineouts working again. Got a maul try. A couple of players played really, really well. Richie White again. I have to mention Richie's having one of those seasons. So got our first try, set up another try. Who else? Scott Neal had a phenomenal game in the pack. Just dogged work. Johnny Murphy again. We got a couple of scrum penalties. We gave one ourselves. Just kind of one of those things when you're not set properly and you just kind of switch off for a minute, and they got one against us. But I think we had 2 scrum penalties in the game, so scrums were everything kind of worked well. We probably could have scored. As I said, we could have scored more, been a little bit more accurate. We got our bonus point try literally in last play of the game. It was a lovely little chip through from Richie, and he caught it himself and passed it out the wing. Johnny Crosley scored on the post. That gave us a bonus point. It's something we were kind of struggling a bit last year. We didn't get that. We didn't get those last tries to get a bonus point, but we got the bonus point out of it. So look, we're building well. Happy enough. The whole squad is training well. We're disappointed not to have the seconds game because it was a lot of players that are pushing. They're kind of pushing for first, but we didn't get a chance to really get a look at them because of the not having the seconds. But their training is good. There's nearly 40. There's between 30 plus to 40 training every night, and even this weekend or even Tuesday night, we had a really, really good turnout. Considering that the first aren't playing this weekend. Now we're going to Portlaoise tonight with all the squad players who didn't play on Sunday. We wanted to have a look at a few guys who haven't had that opportunity, as I say, last weekend. So we're going to, in fairness to Portlaoise, we looked around for friendlies kind of teams that we weren't going to play in the league, and Portlaoise agreed to play. So we're really thankful for them to give us an opportunity to get game time under our belt for the seconds. And also, as I say, like there's a couple of guys I kind of coming back from injuries and that. Now, yeah, we lost our captain. Dan got knocked out. Met the number 8. Being honest, if he hadn't put the tackle in, it would have been a try under the post. But we're not going to have him for Dundalk next week, which is a massive loss. But that's why again we need to look at the players coming through from the J2s, because, as I say, there's a few players there knocking on the door. And good thing this year is there's actually real competition for certain places. I think over the last couple of seasons we might have been complacent in a few positions, and now there's lads there chomping at the bit to get in there, and which is good, and the coaches are giving them an opportunity. A couple of guys there got opportunities at the weekend. Liam Slater was playing out half of the seconds. Liam got an opportunity. He gave a fantastic pass for Ben to go in the corner for a really, really good try. So like there is that positivity in the camp, as you want to say it. There's not a whole lot. We're kind of have a downtime this weekend and enjoyed a few pints off with the match, and they have a stag as well, so they can go out and have a blowout, which everyone needs, because they've been putting the work in there, and we'll kind of look forward to getting back on the saddle then on Tuesday and start building then for Dundalk. That's really often Carl youth games.
Crossley's outlet must have done some balling on the sideline when he went in for the bonus point try.
I have to say Alex Crossley was playing, and we threw him in scrum half. We were short scrum half. We're missing we actually had all the scrum halves. 2 scrum halves were playing on the 3 scrum halves were actually on the J1s for one of our first games, and Johnny went in scrum half and played outstanding, and really has got into it. But he had absolutely phenomenal. He got man of the match on Sunday. For a small man, he has just so much go and brings something. He brings something different because he's full of energy. He's one of these guys comes onto a pitch with a smile on his face and just brings positivity. Doesn't matter what's happening around him. He tends to bring on lads. As I say, like, he's not the biggest man in the world, but Jesus, he really puts in some effort in the game, and like without him, he got that fantastic try at the end to give us that bonus point. And yeah, his dad was shouting, and I'd say he was a bit disappointed England lost afterwards, but he has to take one win.
He's probably the best known supporter in Leinster Junior Rugby, I'd say. Everybody knows him.
Well, when the Leinster Juniors are shouting out, "Keep it up, Leinster!"
Yeah, exactly.
So, look, it's we had a good weekend. The youths had some good results. The 18s lost. They were just missing a couple of the actual 18s and got bullied a bit by Gorey, but they're training well, have really good numbers, and the rest of the youth teams did well. I have to say our Tullow Carlow Rhinos are the 16s. Jesus just blasted Greystones out of it in the league this weekend. They're unbeaten this season. I coached them last night. Kira was away last night, and I coached them, and their skill levels and just the way they even train is just phenomenal. That is a serious team of girls. I've coached boys teams who don't have the ball skills that they have at that level. Unbelievable. That's all from Carlow.
Lovely. Should we move on to Tullow and Paddy? Tullow were flying it, but they're starting to feel a bit of pressure, I suppose, in Division 1A. Lost to Ashbourne there. It was only by a point now last weekend, but still not a nice one.
Yeah, it was a bad one to lose, all right. We've had 2 wins now and 2 losses, and this one hurt a bit, all right, because we were 28-12 up and had the bonus point by half time and went along to lose it by 29-28. So the second half went really against us. We had 4 tries in the first half. 2 tries from Aka, who's playing out of his skin at the moment. Sean O'Brien had a try from number 6, and Philip Byrne had a try. And it looked very well at half time. And then in the second half, we had a man sent off, and I suppose it was a bit of a factor, but whatever it was anyway, the foot was taken off the pedal, and Ashbourne. It was away to Ashbourne, all right. It was an away match, and I suppose before the game, we might have been happy to get 2 points on the road, but the way the game went, not happy. No, it was a game we left behind us, and even as it was, we had a penalty to win it in the end and barely missed it. So it feels like one that got away, all right, Stephen. But so be it. That was it. We had a good old support up there, and I suppose when things settled down, we were happy enough to get 2 points. So as it stands now, Monkstown and Sea Point seem to be the 2 teams that are pulling away a little bit from the rest. We're kind of mid-table, along with Ashbourne and Bective on 13 points each, and then Wicklow and 6, the Tonians 6, and Goreys, who were very strong for the last few years, have only got 2 points so far. So I don't know what's happening in Gorey, but that's it's a strange one. And Monkstown and Sea Point seem to be the 2 teams that are the ones to catch at the moment, anyway. And our next match is at home to Sea Point, so that'll next on Saturday week. So that'll be a tester. The good news from that day was that our seconds were out and won. And I was interested in hearing what Tom was saying about the seconds, because we've generally struggled at this time of year to get out a seconds team, and to get out one last week and to beat a fairly strong Ashbourne seconds team by 19-10 was something we were very pleased with. And the more, as what Tom said, we have the team that won the Seconds Cup last year had a mixture of old fellas and young fellas. This team is all young fellas. The average age is 20. And there's nobody, I think, over 23 on it. So that's good. It's great to have those lads eager, and it means also that there's good numbers out training. So that increased the humour a little bit. And then, of course, the ladies certainly cheered us all up afterwards, because they were playing one of the strong teams, Railway Union, and 7 tries, and they won 35-17. And I think it's the first time they've beaten Railway Union away in over 10 years. So all's going well in that particular front, because, as I say, Railway Union are one of the forces, and the huge numbers out training with the ladies. I think with 25 on the field that day, or 23, and 32 out training 1 or 2 nights. So it's we've got a good few extra girls this year, so we're happy with that. So that's the rundown, Stephen, on the seniors. And while we 2 wins, I suppose the first were the big disappointment, given the way the game went. So the juniors then, and Tom referred to the juniors. We had a great weekend with the juniors. They were all the Leinster League started, and our 13 on the boys' side of it, our 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, and 18s all had very good wins. So certainly the underage situation is very, very healthy there at the moment. As Tom said, the Rhinos, the under 14 Rhinos had a great win against Dundalk. The under 16 Rhinos, they got a walkover from St. Mary's. So that's all very positive at the junior end, and numbers are huge all around. And I think Eddie Harkin was telling me that I think Leinster Rugby published numbers lately, and we're third, I think, in the number of players playing in the southeast region, or in the hot region, because the Greystones are number 1, Wicklow number 2, and Tullow number 3. So anyway, I don't know what region that is, whether South Leinster or what, but the numbers are very good all around, and that's a big positive. So just off the field, then we spoke a lot the last day about Conor, and a lot of the lads are starting in Movember, as another part of remembering Conor, and the money will go to local services. And just to acknowledge all our neighbouring clubs for the nice gestures they had in their matches, forming figure eights, etc., and dropping down the number 8 jerseys and things like that. So that's still a big issue in the club, or a big sadness in the club, and what we appreciate the gestures by all our neighbours to help us remember Conor. So that's it, Stephen. A busy weekend last weekend, and unfortunately the first just were short, but all the other games went our way, and we're very, very happy with that. No match this coming weekend, either the girls or the men, and the Saturday week, then we're out against Sea Point.
Lovely. Good stuff, Paddy. James, you had a good win over Dundalk last weekend.
Yeah, we had a great win. A great win. It was, look, I will admit from now, I wasn't at the match because I was supporting Thomastown in the county final. So well done to everyone in Thomastown for eventually putting us all out of our misery. We're back senior for the first time since I think 1991. So or 1989. So I wasn't here for that, but by all accounts, it was. How would you say, a kind of an attritional game. It wasn't a game for the purist. 22-15 we won, but it was tit for tat the whole way through. We were dealt a blow in the warm-up. Gary Dunn, our captain, had to pull up kind of with a hamstring twinge, so that's a little reshuffle on the bench. Wes Carter, who was back in for his returning match, first game of the season, was promoted from the bench up to start number 6, and then Johnny Young came into the squad there to I suppose take Wes's place on the bench. And I suppose if you're looking for anyone to bring up to your first 15 to start, it's Wes Carter. You know, probably, as I would say, the guy's brain on the rugby pitch is worth 3 to 5 points any day, be it in defence or attack. So look, it was great to have Wes back. We were minus Brian Howe, but so Conan Dunn came in and started at loosehead instead of Brian, and Rob Kelly on loosehead. Rob Kelly was on the tight side. Tyke Butler was back in second row. He was away the previous week. And beside Jay Colbeck, and then a back row of Lee McWee, Dave O'Connor at 8, and then, as I said, Wes Carter. But I think one of the really shining lights of what's happening this year is seeing Lee McWee, and I've mentioned it already, Lee McWee getting a run of games in the first team. If anyone deserves it, it's him. He's your quintessential number 6. You put him in to do a job. You won't see him in the game doing anything spectacular because he's doing all of the basics well. You know, his catch and pass, carry, support play is just what you need. So it's great to have Liam going well. Tristan Leffers then kind of was in for his home debut at number 13. He's an Aussie that's come over to play for us, and I think he probably had his best game with us since he arrived. But Joe Manuel actually started on the bench but came on, and Joe probably had his best performance for Kilkenny in the guts of 10 years. He was immense. But I suppose for us, a bit of a concern for us is that we're not securing enough of bonus points in games where they're there for the taking. But the lads came back very well. Like, they had a really disappointing loss to Athy the previous week. A game where we just got an awful lot of things wrong. Our decision making was wrong. Bad decisions in the wrong parts of the pitch. Kind of trying to chip the ball from inside our own 22 and do chips over the top to try and get in behind the tie from inside our own half. Mad things like that. Where last Sunday the decision making was a little bit better. It was low risk in the high risk areas, and I suppose higher risk in the try scoring areas. So we're happy to get back to winning ways. I think we're second in the league. Kildare are on top. I think we beat Kildare first day out, and I think they're gone in an unbeaten run since. I think they're gone three in a row now. We are gone. We 3 in a row since we beat them. So look, it's going to be an intriguing battle. Like Carlow are back in the mix now as well after a bonus point win. Not to say you're ever out of it, Tom, but after a bonus point win last weekend, I think you're up to 3rd now. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the nature of the 8-team league is that it's just going to remain competitive. De La Salle are probably out of the mix in 1B already from 4 losses in a row, so they're probably fighting for survival. So look, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of months in 1B until you can kind of see a pack separate. But certainly Athy are probably a team that I think need to be watched. I was really impressed with them up there 2 weeks ago. They got their balance of forwards play and backs play really good. There was with Athy, we know they have an electric back line, and I was kind of going up to look at what their pack could do because I haven't seen them. But their pack really, really got their balance right. They knew when to release the ball. They knew when their forwards had done enough to let the ball out of their backs. The Leinster Junior 10, his name escapes me. He actually started scrum half. Miller, yeah.
Miller.
He started scrum half, and James Harris started out half. I have to say, Tom, you're right about James Harris. He is a talent to watch. He's going to go places in the game. He's a lovely rugby player.
The 9.
Yeah. He started out half against us.
I think he is going to be gone. He may be gone. He has been looked at for the Irish under-20s, and also I have a feeling that he is gone dual status as well with Naas.
Right. He's a cracking rugby player.
He opened us, as I said, like the first day he opened us up as he scored 4.
There's Jake McDonald now, just going in to do a bit of training. Jake McDonald going in doing a bit of training. Say hello on the podcast, Jake.
Yeah, that young lad is a bit of a star. He hasn't. I tell you, he hasn't the best pass in the world, but it's the work. It's just smart and his work around the field. Like I've seen scrum halves with better passes, but his whole rounded game, his support play, his lines are running very Dupontish in his. Yeah,
he's tracking the ball carrier the whole time.
Really, so good.
Because you had said it to me, you'd said it on the podcast a few weeks ago about him. I think he scored 3 or 4 tries against G. Like
4.
I went up specifically to watch him, and the chap is just an athlete. The last guy I saw at that age who had the same kind of physique, the same sort of athleticism, was Conor Nash from Navan. Now he's gone on to play Aussie rules, but that's the kind of category I put him into. I was really impressed by him,
Yeah.
But looking back to ourselves, like our seconds up in a tie. Our seconds were 32-5 down at half time. Now, in fairness, Athy had a very strong seconds team out. I think they hauled 5 at half time to go sub for their firsts. And then in the second half, we got it back. I think we ended up getting losing bonus point. We did end up getting a losing bonus point, and 2 tries very dubiously disallowed as well in the second half. But our seconds had a massive win here on Sunday against Dundalk. So that really getting the seconds going. So look, we're hopeful. We'll remain hopeful. But as I said throughout, this is an unbelievably competitive league, and like we have tough games to come. Like we have Carlow to come yet. We still have Boyne to play, Longford to play. Like so, there's a huge amount of rugby yet to play in the league. But I think. Our ambition hasn't changed. Equally, everybody else's ambition in the league hasn't changed. So we're just going to have to fight, and it's going to be survival of the fittest in 1B, I think, this year. Youths like Carlow, youths are having a mixed bag. There's some up and down results. Like, I mean, it's very hard. Our under 13s are having a very tough time of it at the moment. Our 18s under Gary Corcoran are kind of, with an Irish youth development player there and Daniel Ring, and then Hugh Greeny, Leinster youth hooker, the foundation is there for the under 18s. Just need to get a few things right. GA is going to finish up now soon enough. But I had a meeting with Tim Kiley last night. Tim's the chairman of Youth Rugby, and for the first time in many years, Kilkenny are actually now fielding at under 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s and 18 and a half. So that's a huge achievement for us to have kind of those 5 boys teams fielding, but also the 5 or the underage girls teams fielding as well. we're actually running out of training space out here at the moment, albeit there's been no training allowed on the pitch for the last number of weeks. There's our groundsman over there, Wayne Byrne. He's marshalling the place with an iron fist at the moment, and rightfully so, to keep the pitches in good order, you know. And the girls, the women's team, look, they're just ticking away. I don't think they had a game last weekend. I stand to be corrected on that, but they had a tough result against Tullow the previous weekend. So against Ashbourne. Apologies. So look, it's going to be a weekend off now. There's a Halloween party here in the club tomorrow night, fancy dress, and Saturday night. So everybody's invited to come out to that. The World Cup final will be on the telly for all the interest that we'll have in it. But look, at lots of positive things happen, as I say, and we just keep the foot on the gas and stay getting better every week.
Good stuff, James. Yeah, and speaking of the World Cup final, of course, what are we thinking, lads? New Zealand, South Africa, or do we care anymore?
I'm going to head because I have to go, but I'll probably eat me shorts tomorrow, but I'm going with New Zealand.
By much?
Going with New Zealand. So I don't know what the lads are going to say. I'll leave that surprise and listen to it.
I back you up, Tom. I think New Zealand, but not by a score.
I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think South Africa probably burning their bridges. So I'll be honest, I want New Zealand to win.
Yeah, I think the things are pointing towards New Zealand with South Africa after having two very tight games and looked tired against England, I thought, whereas New Zealand had a very easy semi-final. And of course, the 7-1 mix is very interesting again from South Africa, and you know they're going for the bomb squad again, and it has paid them off so far. But they haven't had a back injury, so that could really backfire if they had a couple of injuries in the backs. But if they don't, I nearly fancy them in the second to do what they did to England in the last 20 minutes.
Just think New Zealand strategy-wise have just more. There's more they can do against South Africa. Is a bit too easy. Not that it's too easy to read. It's just there's only one plan, and Ireland were able to pick that lock. And I think New Zealand do probably even better in the World Cup final. So, yeah.
As I said, coming into the Ireland-New Zealand match, we saw with the New Zealand scrum half. Like, I mean, they only need an inch, and they're gone through a gap, you know. And the South Africans are so big and cumbersome, and so tired after the last two games they've had. I think the Kiwis will exploit them at every opportunity. But, you know, you saw what happened with South Africa the weekend against England. England got a great head of steam and a really good score up against them, and they just put their foot on the gas, and they kind of constrict you into death, like, you know. They just plug away and let the big lads off at you, and it's hard to recover from. Their men are so big, you know, and their scrum is so dominant. In the tight five, they'll probably have New Zealand up in the front five in the scrum, albeit I think New Zealand have two of the best second rows in the world. One of them sitting on the bench in Whitelock and Retallick and then Scott Barrett. But I think in the backs, the Kiwis will cut them open, I think.
What do you reckon, Paddy?
My heart goes with New Zealand, and a huge call to drop Dane Coles, but they are trying to match the bomb squad in Oxfenshire, isn't that his name? He's the one that's doing all the damage. So I was reading there today about the difficult conversation he had with Dane Coles. Similarly, I'd say Razzie Erasmus had a difficult conversation with Manny Limbuck. It's a terrible thing to do. I'd have to do to a chap, and it's not even make the subs, but because he went for the 7-1. But I know, as I said, I think unless the 7-1 backfires with a few injuries in the backs, I'd be afraid that South Africa will start putting on the pressure in the last 20. It depends on how far ahead New Zealand get, and they will go ahead, I'm sure. But depending on how far ahead they get, if they get a nice margin up, the bomb squad may not be able to do enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to it. The URC is back as well, lads. It was back last weekend. So Munster and Leinster are out this weekend, of course, as well, just for something else for us to watch in the meantime until they get the internationals back, I suppose.
Do you know what? It was great to see Joey Carberry have a good day at the office for Munster last weekend.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, Leinster is a bit of trouble in the front row until they get their internationals back, aren't they?
Yeah, but Cian Healy's gone now for the next 6 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah, he's terrible loss. Yeah, they have Alatoa back for tomorrow. But, geez, the young lads, and they're great young lads, but they're just not mature enough yet for that level.
No.
Absolutely. Interesting to look at a few players, though, and see how they get on. So that's what it's all about. You sort of have this time of the year. Lads, thanks a million for joining us. Tom Crowley, James Blanchfield, Paddy Brown. Enjoy the weekend, the World Cup finals and all that. I know the clubs are quiet this weekend, but talk to you next week at the same time and chat all things rugby.
Thanks.
Take it easy. Cheers, lads. Take care. Have a nice weekend.